Welcome back to another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. But today, right before we get started here, we have a special announcement because just next week, just in a few days, you guys are going to be able to come see us and hang out with us at the 8% conference in Dallas, Texas, starting on the 27th. So we're going to be excited about that. We're going to have a full Life Insurance Academy booth set up, and we want to invite you guys to come hang out with us, to come talk to us and just let us know what's going on, what you like, what you don't like, and we'll be able to interact with each other and see what's coming up. And with that, we actually have some breakout sessions.
Yeah, guys, we are excited for our breakouts. We are going to walk through our final expense presentation that's sold tons of premium. And then we are also doing an interactive podcast recording. We are super excited about this. We want to see you guys in there. And we'll even have a few of you hop on there. So we can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be the first time we're going to actually do a podcast in a full room of people. And we're going to have a floating mic going around. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be completely off the cuff. I don't even know what topic we're going to talk about. Maybe we'll let you guys choose the topic. But for this 8% conference, Chris knows a guy, right?
We know a guy. He's given us a deal, and you can get the tickets that we have at lifeinsuranceacademy.org/tickets, lifeinsuranceacademy.org/tickets. And guys, we even have fire tickets. I don't think you can get them anywhere else.
No, they are sold out everywhere. I believe we have 6 of those left. We have very limited number of diamond tickets left. We also have some premier tickets left. I think we're under 10 left on that. And then we have the VIP tickets. And I promise you, since we do know a guy, these are the best prices you're going to see out there. And we just want to do that to our LIA audience, and we wanted to make them available. And we're happy, and we're going to see you guys there soon.
All right, let's jump in the podcast.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Life Insurance Academy podcast. It is Zach McElwain and I again, just dropping science, dimes, knowledge.
I used my full government name, man.
I didn't say Alexander.
Dang, easy, Grayson.
Now everybody knows your middle name. So we're hanging out in the podcast today, and we have a fun topic for you guys. I wanted to have it I wanted to add a little theater to it.
Theater?
Yeah. Yes. Theater, depending on the area of the country you're born in. And the topic today is defying gravity.
Okay.
Defying gravity. So our podcast listeners are like,
and we're not talking about your vertical in the court, right?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to address that. It's certainly, if 2 inches off the ground is defying gravity, then yes.
I mean, it is to some degree, right?
Yeah, to some degree. But we know that the people in this industry get into it for a reason. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing, Zach, when you got into life sales, you didn't do it as a hobby.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely.
It would be the worst hobby in the world. When I say that, I'm saying like there's no money attached to it. You're just doing it for fun. I can't imagine that there are people out there. Maybe. I probably need to take that whole thing back. There are probably people out there who are like, this is my hobby. I don't make money from it. I just love selling life insurance for no reason other than the joy of it.
Yeah, I doubt that. I mean, I think you're safe on that comment, honestly. I mean, there are people that are LOAs, so they technically don't make a commission off the sales, but they get paid. Yeah. And even the people that maybe go around to help other agents, or maybe they're retired of some sort, mm-hmm. They're not necessarily getting a monetary return on that, but they are getting fulfillment to be able to speak in somebody else's life and give some free training in aspects. There's always a return.
Are you saying that there are retired agents out there who are wandering the country in RVs and finding life insurance agents that need help and solving those issues for them? Are you saying that's happening? If you are that person,
I don't know about the RV part.
I want that story. You hear that, Adam? Yes, we want that story.
That would be pretty amazing. And I'm not saying it's cruising around an RV. Like you went very specific there.
Right.
But I'm sure the joy of it, like just selling insurance, but the joy of that is actually coming from changing somebody's life or speaking into them or helping them see a bigger vision than they've ever saw for themselves.
Yeah, I could see that. And there's that little word there, I think, that is very helpful in framing today's conversation, and it is joy. It is joy. Like this idea of defying gravity. This is the assumption that I'm making for our listeners, that every single person who's listening has a dream, that something that excites them, something that they're fighting for, something that they're working towards.
So here's the question.
Okay.
Is it possible to enter this industry or start this career without a dream or something that's clear that they're fighting for?
I'm leaving a pregnant pause there because I think that's a great question. I think everybody has to decide that, because I do think people who jump in, sometimes they want to try something because it's different, and maybe it evolves, and maybe your dream comes out of that. Maybe you've worked in a position that you didn't love, and you're tired of the rat race, or maybe you're just a crappy employee, and you just don't, you have a problem with authority or something, and you're like, man, I want to be my own boss. But even then, there's an ideal that you probably have that you're fighting for.
Yeah,
I would guess.
I would go out on a limb and say, I'm fairly confident at this, actually, that you can get started without a dream, without a vision, because of what you just mentioned, to escape something else, to try something new, but to be successful and or continue to do this over any period of a time. You cannot continue to do this without that dream or vision laid out in front of you.
It's very difficult.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think it's a good starting point for this conversation. And I think if you're listening, especially, I think a lot of times, a lot of people drive and listen to us. I don't know if that's true. If that's true, let us know. We'd like to know. Maybe you're out there driving and you're listening, or maybe you're at home. You have to decide, am I in this because I was escaping something, I wanted to try something new, or had a vision for my life and I'm trying to accomplish big things? I think that's a good question for you.
It is. And it's okay that changes.
Yeah.
Because there's stages, or if you will, there's levels to this game. There's levels to your personal growth. There's levels to your life. And you work your butt off to achieve a level, but then there's a certain amount of complacency. You get into this gray zone, and maybe we'll get into a little later in our call, but between achieving level 1 and moving to level 2, or you call it whatever level you want, but before you hit that next growth area for you, there's this kind of stage where you kind of get stuck, where you're like, okay, I'm celebrating this past or this smaller accomplishment. I don't really know if can see a vision or another level above this. I know there kind of is, but am I willing to do the work? I'm kind of stuck. Do I want to continue this? And a lot of people get stuck in this collection zone, you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah. So this topic of defying gravity, the reason I like the topic title, it's really a metaphor. Surprise. There's some theater behind this. But if you're launching a rocket, you have to defy gravity. If you're getting on a plane or piloting a plane, you have to defy gravity. And gravity is a force that is a law of science. It is a law, right? We're not Wile E. Coyote and running off a cliff and continue running, and then you realize, oh, there's gravity, and then you fall. It is a force that is part of the world. It's part of the universe. And we may not be fighting gravity like we do, like an airplane, but we are fighting forces. And I think there are 3 specific forces that you said in this level 2 of getting more acclimated into your business, and you're starting to run it, and you're starting to see some patterns and learning the process. There are 3, and we can talk about these 3. I would say they're boredom, failure, and negativity. I think those are the three gravity forces that we face. When
are we going to unpack these?
Yes, absolutely. So why don't we start with this first force, failure? This first force. This what do you see agents struggling with, and what's the best way to address this? And maybe it's the same answer and the best way to address each one of these, but what do you see in that when you hear that idea of failure?
The idea of failure.
Yeah.
That's a loaded question.
I know, it's very big.
This goes back to years of conversations between me and you, but
that's right.
You didn't even realize you set me up with that question.
I know.
So I have a very unique.
I know you had a lot of. I'm just teasing. A lot of failures.
Yes,
many failures.
Failure is a mindset.
Okay.
Failure is a mindset. Now there's setbacks, and then there's a failure, and so I define it very differently. When you fail, to me, that means it's over. That means, the game, the bell is rung, the fat lady sang, that old song. I mean, regardless, there's no more chance. You have given up. It is completed. It's done. The results wasn't what you desired, and there's no way about changing it, or you don't have the desire to go change it. That is failure, my opinion. And you never fail at something, you fail yourself, because it's the act of actually giving up and not wanting to pursue a successful outcome. So just to clarify, I want to repeat that because it's very good, and I haven't heard it put that way very often. It's if you failed something, it's not that you failed the thing, it's that you quit. You failed yourself,
and you failed yourself.
Yep.
It's not the objective. You failed yourself. That's very good.
You lose the desire to pursue the desired or positive outcome or being successful at something. So that's always been my mindset at failing. So with that being said, if you never quit, you can never fail. If you never quit, you can never fail. You can only learn, make adjustments, adapt. And I'm not saying it's not going to be painful. I'm not saying it's not going to be difficult or hard or time-consuming sometimes or stressful, or you may lose a lot, you may lose everything. But if you never quit, you will never fail, and you will persevere through that. So that failure mindset, it's a mindset to me. And I'm not saying... Again, and this is where we went back and forth. And I remember back. This is years ago,
right?
And it comes up every about 8 to 10 months. Yeah.
We were kids.
You're like, oh, so you're telling me you've never failed at anything?
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I view different. Failing to me is completely different than maybe what it means to you. So I can say no, because I'm a person that, if I put my mind to it, if I want to pursue something, I do not stop. Failure is not a choice. It's not in a vocabulary, because again, you're battling with yourself.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think we do see it similarly. I see chapters to it though, where I can say, okay, that chapter's over. What did I learn from that? I think you say it the same way.
That's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, very similar.
But the book's not finished.
Yes,
Chris.
I would agree 100%. The book's not finished, right? There's this. I was reading this book, Good to Great, and I can't remember the author's name, Jim Walkerson. I'm just kidding. I totally made that up. Adam's
if you point your finger in the air,
the book's
Adam
right there.
Yeah,
it's literally right there.
Yeah, there
Good
you
to
go.
Great. And he talked about the successful leader, or the person who can move organizations from being okay, good to great. And there were 2 ingredients, and one was humility, which was interesting to me. These were the common characteristics of leaders, of great leaders. Humility was one of them, and the other one was indomitable will. An indomitable will, which is you say it. It's fun to say. Say it. Indomitable.
Good
job.
Will.
Yeah, it's fun to say.
Indomitable will.
Yeah, and this will that I cannot, just like what you're saying, I cannot be defeated. That's what indomitable means, is I cannot and will not give up or be defeated. So the question I have, and it really kind of ties in together in these, okay, this failure, like boredom, failure, negativity, it's hard to pull each one out. We can talk about the other 2, but here's the big question. What is it you're refusing to fail at?
Yeah.
That's the question. What is it you're refusing to fail? And I think when agents do give up, it's because they never defined that.
That is so true, because they're thinking, well, I'm not good at life insurance, or I'm not good at underwriting. I can't do this. Or I wasn't born with this skill like that agent was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we hear that.
And my question is, how do you think that came to be? How do you think they developed that? No matter what, there's a history in of failure or struggles or experiences that led somebody to that, and that persistence to be successful, that refuse to lose attitude, to not fail, is exactly why they're that way now. But people all the time, they're so quick to call it a failure for a week or on your lead, return on investment or whatever you want to say. But just what you said there, Chris, they're not understanding that may be a small chapter, but what is the book? What is the story we're writing of our lives, and not just this week or that sit or that phone interview with the client that you lost control and went completely wrong and didn't get the sale after that. You can get caught up in these tiny little speed bumps.
Right.
And now that's your failure.
Yeah, that's the word, speed bump, or it's just a blip, but it feels like everything to you. And I think if we wrestled with a little bit more with what we're about, what we're trying to accomplish, like, can you fail at door knocking? Can you fail at calling, picking up the phone and dialing? Can you fail at
only if you quit?
Yeah. But if it's just about that, I don't know if I'd want to do it. That's my point. Like, if I could pick up the phone every day, all day long, 150 times, whatever.
So I want to add a word to this, because this is what's coming to my mind as we're talking about this.
Okay.
Perspective of yourself. Like, sometimes we can get so narrowly focused on that one app, that one door knock, that one phone call, and we're judging everything on that.
Yes.
And sometimes we just need to zoom out and see the entire trip. We need to look at that map from that different angle to see where we are, what obstacles have we already faced, where are we going, and where's the end game. And we get so caught up in that moment, that week to week, where, and you may, if you're not sure if this is you or not, like, look back at your emotions, or start documenting your weeks or your emotions for the last 3 or 4 weeks or the last 2 months. You will see, was I the number one agent on top of the world, and I'm sending all these texts to my friends, and we're celebrating? The next week I'm debating on quitting. The next week after that, I'm back on top of the world again and I'm doing great. And then 2 days ago, you figured that you probably weren't good again, that you felt like it was Space Jam in that moment where they sucked all the talent away from the NBA players, and you touched that basketball. Now you can't ever knock on a door or pick up a phone again, because you're just, what if I got lucky? What if I got lucky the last 8 years I was in the business, Chris, and that was all luck, but now the true me is here and I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just need to have that perspective on that.
Yeah. So that's really good, dude. So there's this perspective issue, a couple pieces to this. One is on what this moment is of picking up a phone or knocking on a door, right? Like, there's going to be some more. There's a whole bunch of them, and it's a numbers game. We know that. And then there's this other side of the perspective is what is it that pulls you forward? And that is your vision for what you're trying to accomplish, the vision for your life. It's easy to fail picking up a phone. It's easy to fail knocking on a door, if that's all it is, if that is it. Yeah. But if you
think I'm going to fail at not hitting my goal in order to take my daughter to Disney World?
That's the difference.
No.
That is the difference, right? And there's this cause piece that's attached to it that makes this worth doing, fighting for. Not only that, and this is where people miss it, is it helps you figure things out. That's the tricky part in understanding this. Because if you have something that matters to you, if I said, Zach, if you got a phone call from some Russian dude, no offense to Russians, you got a call from some Russian dude, and he's like, hey, Zachary, that's a terrible accent. I have your daughter, Ava. You have to sell 20 policies today to ever see her again. Ha, 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 ha. I don't know why he's laughing at the end of it. But if he said that to you, what would you do?
Well, what's the actor in Taken?
I've got a very specific set of skills.
I do.
right?
I got a very specific set of skills, and I'm gonna have those 20 apps by lunch if need
That's
be.
right.
But no, good luck.
yeah,
But
that's right.
that calls piece is, I can't even describe how important that is, because I know one of the other word. What was the other word you said we were talking about?
Indomitable.
Boredom.
Oh, boredom. Yeah, boredom was the other one. Yeah.
Because the only way you get bored is when you lose sight of what you really want in that accomplishment. And I'll tell you, we're not good enough to just sell every day without reminding ourselves why we're doing it.
Nobody is.
I wouldn't say it's not that easy, but we can get complacent. We can relax. Like when the first time you're a new agent, for the first time in your life, regardless of what you went through in the past, and you put $20,000, $30,000 in your bank account. And so the tendency is to protect it and to never let anybody touch it. And you just sit it there and you've made it, right? And that hits you this level of complacency and relaxing where you don't want to hit that next level, that, this is a new height you've never been to, but you're not seeing that bigger vision for yourself to pull you forward. There's no way I could have done this for that long, or being in the field, or being a part of that grind, or growing the team and dealing with the different stresses that this business provides, the self-development struggles and hurdles that you have to overcome, if you're not constantly, and I'm talking daily, reminded of what your ultimate goal is. And then not just that, but every aspect of your life leading up to that ultimate goal. So you have these baby steps and these check-in goals, you want to say, that is leading you directly to that bigger cause. And it's not an income. It's not. I tell people this all the time. Money's nothing. It's paper. It doesn't matter at all. What the value of money comes from is what you trade it for. Are you trading it for time with somebody, or are you trading it for a memory? Mm-hmm. How are you utilizing that money? Because money by itself, if you were never allowed to spend it, would it matter how much money you had?
No.
Absolutely not. So people get confused and they make their goal a number or an amount of money instead of a cause and the memory. If you dig down to the root of that internal motivation inside of you will take you further than anything you've ever thought, and it will pull you through any struggles or times where you're feeling like you may want to give up or you may want to fail. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't remind myself every day. And I think it's on one of our earlier podcasts, I don't know, a couple years ago, when I told you my goal, I always wrote down what my deepest cause was, and I put it in my visor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And flop it down.
Flop it down.
Flop it down, because we have to remind ourselves of that. We have to.
And it typically isn't the very first thing you think of. Like, this takes a little work. This does the emotional excavation of yourself and your family to have some conversations determining what the future is going to look like for you and what it is you're fighting for. That takes work to do. So it's probably third, fourth, fifth level of that.
It takes time too.
Yes, it takes time to develop.
Mine was crazy vague. Mm-hmm. It was like a cloudy photo, and I'm like, oh, I want to be successful. I want to make a lot of money. I want to make it easy on my family. I want to be able to do this. Mm-hmm. And then the more time you put into that, the more driven and motivated and less struggles you will have. The clearer that image becomes for you, the easier this job is. Yeah,
that's really good. And this boredom and failure part here together, kind of, I feel like the tools to get past that are learn, adapt, and change.
That first one is key.
Yeah, learn, right?
Yes.
Because just because somebody shut the door, just because you didn't get the sale, just because you didn't close, it doesn't mean that you can't get the next one. And that data, the information from that set, is incredibly valuable for you to get the next one.
Yes.
Incredibly important.
This learn, adapt, change, this boredom mindset, we've all been through it. If you feel like you haven't, you're lying.
I'm getting bored listening to us right now.
Dude, I've taken 2 naps since we've been on this podcast. No. But once you hit that certain level, I'm writing as hard as I can to hit this achievement or to be the number one agent of our group here or of our state or whatever it is. And you're happy with that. You're satisfying with that, which is great. And you can celebrate, but you can't live in the past for too long. It's okay to celebrate for a day, but you got to move on to the next. Because after that, you're not striving for anything else. And the way you get bored is because you're doing the same thing every day and you have nothing to look forward to. You have nothing to challenge you or expand you. And a lot of people are scared of that because they don't want to be seen either personally to themselves or by others that they're not that good anymore. I tell myself all the time, like one of my biggest tricks was to tell yourself you're not that good and then prove yourself wrong. All the time.
That's good.
Because you think you're the best. Well, you were, but what are you doing now? So
probably a better way of saying that I was the best yesterday was today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tell yourself you're not that good and then prove yourself wrong. You have to, the rinse due every day, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that mindset of that, and if that's your stage, well, start comparing up.
Right.
Who's the best in the region? Who's the best in this, this part of the United States? Who's the best in the nation with this carrier, that carrier, or overall, or branch out and start expanding into Medicare or annuities and add, don't replace, add these different products and lines. Always pretend to be better, reevaluate, I was watching a Netflix series. It's an all-American. It's sport related.
Tyler's watching that right now.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's
pretty
the new
good.
90210.
Sure, yeah. And it's got so many different life lessons in it, but now he's at the point where he's in college and he's going from one of the best in the country, can do whatever he wants in high school, and now he can barely even make third string depth chart. And they're like, you're not the best player on the field. Now he's got to reevaluate in the whole life lesson at this point. And hopefully I'm not getting my spoiler alerts, but you have to make those adjustments. You have to learn, you have to adjust, and you have to adapt, and you have to do things in a different way. And one of the best ways to do that is take a look at yourself. What are your own weaknesses? Because when you're good or you're I'm the best, just the final expense person just in this spot, like put yourself in a different zone, reveal your own weakness to yourself, and strengthen all of those.
That's really good, man. Very good. And this last one, and I hope you're seeing a theme here, is negativity. And the beauty of this whole conversation is you are in control.
Can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
Did you put negativity last for a reason?
I would like to say yes. I don't think I did.
I was going to say I was really smart.
Well, it was instinctively, or it could have been in alphabetical order. It might have been that too.
You win both ways.
Thank you. I appreciate
I'm proud of that.
Yeah. And from this conversation, it can feel like we aren't in control. Mm-hmm. We aren't. We are. You said this so well. Emotion driven in this business so often. We get the application, we are high-fiving everybody. We don't get the application, we're hating on everybody and ourselves, And just a reminder of this, that a thought becomes a belief becomes an action becomes a habit becomes your life.
Will you say it again?
Yes. A thought becomes a belief, I got to add one here. A belief becomes an attitude, an attitude becomes an action becomes a habit, and that becomes your life. That's what it is.
If you follow that, then you cannot be emotional in this business because you have a certain level of respect and expectations for yourself. So you're not surprised when you have a big week.
Right.
You're not. And with that mindset, you will never have a bad week because it just doesn't happen.
You're in control. You get to be in charge of this whole thing. And if you have people who are, just dumping on your career choice, you don't have to hang around them. You can be around people who are encouraging you. If you need people to talk to or saying, hey, I need someone who can tell me I can do it, we're right here. We're in the car with you right now.
The reason I asked if that was last on purpose is because it's almost, you could be around negativity, but you can create your own negativity.
Yes.
And a lot of times it's a result of the other two. When you're not learning, expanding, or adapting, or growing in any of those ways, or you're bored, right? Mm-hmm. Or you feel like you're failing because you're giving up. All of these things are going to lead to negativity to yourself. And you're going to be telling yourself, I'm not that good. I can't do this. I'm not cut out for this. And that's going to be your attitude, which then goes into your beliefs. Like it all lines out that way.
And people will always want to change their actions, but that doesn't that's not permanent. You can start there, but it has to begin with, what are you thinking about when you're in bed at night, closing your eyes, determining your future, deciding what you want, or you're running back all the negative things in your head. Like, you get to decide that. So action is a good starter, but if you want real change, it has to come with how you feel about what you're doing. And that only comes by what you're thinking. That's it.
Yep.
So we want you guys to be able to defy gravity. We know you are launching your planes. We know that you are launching your rockets. And we want you to be able to fight the forces of boredom, failure, and negativity. And the only way you can do that is with controlling what your thoughts are, learning, adapting, and changing. We hope you guys have a lot of success, and we look forward to connecting with you on the next Life Insurance Academy podcast.